everybody, welcome to 54 Nights RV. I'm Chris.
And I'm Terry.
And the two mutts running around, I can't remember their names, never can.
Perrin and Ari. You know their names.
I'm not sure I do. I think today we're going to talk a little bit about our shopping for RV and everything we went through. We're going to break this into sections. Today we'll talk more about the gear.
Sorry, dogs. Today we'll try to talk a little more about
fifth wheels. A little bit of backstory behind us. When we first got married, we did some tent camping. Really loved tent camping. We got a full week of rain out in West Virginia and still had a blast. Of course, that's kind of been our MO over the past 30 years, is whatever happens, and we still have fun on our trips. But tent camping was enjoyable. We went several places with the tent, took dog a few times with us. The big downside to tent camping for us anyway was the packing and unpacking. It didn't matter how well organized we got with everything in containers and putting places in the garage. It was just, it was a hassle. You know, you'd spend a few hours getting all packed up and gathering up groceries and loading the coolers, and then when the road trip was done, you'd spend half a day getting everything piled back up in the pickup. So we upgraded to a pop-up camper. It was a Starcraft. It had the stove and the shower and the toilet and the slide out, and it was, I believe it was one of the largest ones that Starcraft made that year.
We were upscale.
Big time. We wore that thing out, and we used it for 16 or 17 years while the kids were growing up, and went all around the country in it. I don't know how many thousands of miles we put on that thing and how many nights we stayed in it. It was a step up from tent camping. It still took a little bit of preparation to get it all packed up, but we had a lot of stuff that stayed in the camper. And this is not Lyle Lovett. This is Perrin. But when the kids moved out, I think we made one trip with that pop-up after the kids moved out, and it was August, Oklahoma. If you claim you don't sweat, come to Oklahoma in August. It'll cure that little malady.
You get the heat and the humidity.
Yeah,
you don't get to choose, you get both.
Yeah. And you know what we had with the kids was we'd roll up to a campsite, and the three kids and us two, we would all have a job to do. We'd roll out of that pickup or that van and have everything done and be set up within 15-20 minutes.
You know, the kids enjoyed their roles. It was, everybody had their own.
Yeah. You know, the youngest one, when he was, 4 years old, his role was to walk around and put down all the stabilizer jacks. More than once I heard a comment from somebody in the campsite next to us about how we just had it down to an art form. And it really worked out that way when we broke camp and headed on to our next destination or headed home. Worked out well. And then that one weekend August trip that we took without the kids, we realized that it just wasn't for us anymore. We had too much to do. We didn't have our three little slaves with us. But we liked the tent feel. You know, from the tent camping to the pop-up camper, we really enjoyed the tent feel. So we started looking into hybrids, which, if you don't know what a hybrid is, it's a bumper pole camper, all the amenities, refrigerator, stove, toilet, shower, all that good stuff, but the bunk ends flip down on either end of it, and you have the canvas covered bunk ends like you would on a pop-up camper. And we ended up with a 20-foot hybrid, a Jayco, which Jayco and Starcraft are the same company. As a matter of fact, if you look at their brochures, the only difference between the floor plans is the color of the fabric. And that one worked out for us quite well for 2 or 3 years. And then we just, kind of odd, there were 3 less of us on the trips, but we outgrew that hybrid. We needed more room, needed more space. We got these 2 dogs, which are just like having 6 toddlers. And we just needed more room, so we started looking at our options. And when Terry and I start looking to buy something, it doesn't matter what it is, a video camera, a digital camera, a pool table, a kitchen table, a car, or an RV.
We get serious.
Oh, we do a lot of research, a lot. And in this case, it was a year and a half of research, either online or actually at the RV shows, looking at reviews, looking at floor plans, looking at what we wanted in a new rig. And early on, what we wanted was a toy hauler. I've got a motorcycle, love to ride, but understanding that we may get to the Rocky Mountains and it may be raining every day, and she's not going to want to ride around on the back of a motorcycle in the rain for a week. So
Kind of weird like that.
toy haulers was really the focus early on, and when you're talking toy haulers, you're talking mainly about fifth wheels. You got some vehicles that are toy haulers, but they're more of the man cave type rigs. Everything's kind of got the diamond plate and nothing really comfortable. It's kind of like you're going camping in a garage. But toy hauler, fifth wheel was different. So we got to looking around at the fifth wheels, and they gave us the room we wanted. I mean, my gosh, those things are huge as far as interior living space. Just gained a lot of storage space. I mean, you can fit more than just a motorcycle in the garage of these toy haulers. You had the back porch that folded down. It gave you an elevated seating area, a place where the dogs could wander in and out. You wouldn't have to worry about them running off.
Maybe bears couldn't actually get up there. Maybe. Maybe.
But there was, we early on, we were really kind of leaning towards a fifth wheel. Just a lot of pros to them, and really when you talk to the full-time community, and we're not full-timers, I mean, we're weekend warriors. Sometimes we stretch the weekends a little longer. Talk to the full-time community, and really fifth wheels are the direction a lot of them are leaning towards as far as full-timing.
Drop it. Thank you. Give. Thank
you. And I think it's primarily because of the living space you have in them. I mean, I don't know how many square foot these things are, but it'd be like hauling around a small rent house. Any other pros to a fifth wheel?
Like a nice bedroom.
Yeah. Yeah. The
cedar closet.
Oh yeah, the bedrooms being up on the tongue side.
And then you got the living rooms also that are elevated if you
Oh,
want
yeah.
to go the other
Yeah,
direction.
the living
with
room
them.
or the kitchen up on the tongue side. Those were really fascinating to me. But and the rear living, you know, you got typically 2 recliners back there at the tail end of the rig with big old windows on either side and behind you. I think her biggest complaint was you could be sitting there watching TV and never know a deer would just walk behind you.
Yeah, the windows are behind you.
But those are the non-toy hauler models, I suppose.
Yeah.
But,
Sorry.
but one of the probably the biggest downside to a fifth wheel and what caused us to move away from the fifth wheels is the fact that you'd have to get a tow vehicle for it. You know, my little half-ton pickup, it's not going to pull a fifth wheel. You know, they sell fifth wheels and they say half-ton towable, blah, blah, blah. You know, the manufacturer and the dealers are going to try to sell you that half-ton towable fifth wheel. But the reality of it is, yes, your F-150 or your 1500 Ram or Chevy is going to be able to pull it. For how long, that's questionable because you're putting a lot of stress on the motor training. And then just how comfortable is it going to be pulling that? When you're pulling a trailer that is pushing the limits of your truck.
Loaded down.
Yeah, and loaded down, it makes the drive uncomfortable. Going up hills, you know, you feel like you're pedaling uphill with one of those little pedal cars that they sold back in the 50s. Can't gain momentum, you know, getting up on the interstate, you know, 0 to 60 in 6.7 miles. And then windy conditions, you know, that trailer, that fifth wheel that's pushing the limits of your pickup is heavier than your truck, and where it wants to go, you are going to go. You're not going to have a choice in the matter. So, you know, keeping a half ton to pull a fifth wheel was out of the question. It's, in my opinion, not safe. So then we're talking about a 1-ton truck, and that's a lot of money. A lot of times you can get a fifth wheel and a truck that are both priced at the same point. You know, $50,000 fifth wheel and a $50,000 truck. You know, you add those together and you get into the world of Class A's or Class C's even. And then parking it. You know, Estes Park is one of our favorite destinations. Parking a 1-ton pickup in Estes Park,
Downtown.
yeah, totally doable, but you'd spend a lot more time surfing for a spot that you can squeeze into and open the doors, and, you know, worry about dinging somebody else's car with your door or somebody dinging your pickup. You know, parking it at home in the driveway, you know, those 1-tons take up a lot of space. You know, just driving it back and forth to work, just thinking about all the gas I would burn up driving a truck that size back and forth to work, you know, it just, none of it made any sense. So, you know, that's why the decision on a fifth wheel was pushed aside. I mean, and we spent several months looking at different fifth wheels.
How many toddlers did you say?
No, stay down. Anyway, those are our thoughts on the fifth wheel, or I guess my thoughts, because she's not saying a darn thing.
Kind of cold. It's chilly out here today. It keeps getting colder.
It's early November in Oklahoma. It was actually a few degrees warmer about 2 hours ago.
Yep.
And this is early morning.
The wind's picking up now.
Anyway, that's where we were with the fifth wheel. Next time around, we'll talk a little bit about Class C's and maybe earthquakes caused by giant poodles won't be happening. We'll catch you next time, guys.
Bye-bye.